What's going on, everybody? Listen, this is a quick clip from a recent live stream I was a part of discussing appetites and some appetites that we shouldn't be so willing to lean in towards being a part of the kingdom. So, as you watch this video, begin to think of some things that you have an appetite for that's actually pulling you away from God, not closer to Him, because I think this will be beneficial in giving some insight as to how you should potentially move about them moving forward as a believer. Check it out.
Listen, let me say something to you. I think it's really important for us to always question our motives. Always question our motives. Always question why we're doing something. Always question why we're giving ourselves permission to do it. We shouldn't beat ourselves up. I just think that we should ask ourselves the deeper question. Why am I giving myself permission to do this? A friend told me this years ago, well over 20 something years ago. He said something to me. He said, man, I always ask myself, this is before the What Would Jesus Do bracelets come out. He said, I always ask myself, would I invite Jesus to do what I'm doing right now? Would I bring the Lord along with me and be like, hey, will I do this? That's a really good question for us to ask ourselves is, would I invite Jesus to be involved in exactly what it is that I'm doing right now? Would I be like, yeah, come through, Jesus, I'm getting ready to. That's a really good question. Whether it's a glance, whatever the scenario is could we ask Jesus to come and be a part of that? That's just something I want us to really just think about and consider, because sometimes I think we're asking for exceptions to rules and not necessarily, hey, what's the best way for me to go about doing this? That may not necessarily be the case here. I'm saying that I want us to think through that, though, because sometimes that's what we're asking for is the exception to the scenario or the situation.
I think there's also a place to like kind of talk on, because for some people, I guess even at certain stages, like maybe there's a possibility that concerned or thinking about if you would bring Jesus along where you're going may not be the first thought that comes to your mind, right? It may be like one of the last resorts, right? If you've thought about it long enough, you'll come across that question. I also want you to, I also want you to think about, what does this say about my character? What does this say about what I'm willing to make room for in my life? What does this say about what I'm giving way to for the future me? What does this say about me becoming the man that I need to be? Is this the right way? Is this the right direction? Like, and it's crazy because you'll ask yourself that like while you're loading it up, like while you're loading up website and while you're getting the lotion, while you know what I'm saying? Like all of that, those questions can start formulating in your mind. And again, that's in the heat of the moment. Because even in the heat of the moment, some people will be like, shoot, I'm already here, might as well. No, you still have the opportunity to make the decision to not go all the way through with what you're about to do, even if it's just right before, right? Some people are like, man, shoot, I'm already knee deep, neck deep. Shoot, might as well just go ahead and dive through. No, you have an opportunity, even in the heat of the moment, to turn around, right? It doesn't have to be a balls to the wall moment and just YOLO it. No, you have an opportunity to ask yourself that question. Is this putting me on the right trajectory to be the man I want to be, the husband I want to be, the father I want to be, the businessman I want to be, or the partner I want to be, whatever it could be. And when you can answer that question in truth, if you still do it, that just shows a lot of the lack of character, lack of integrity. And that still shows that there's so much room to grow, so much room to go, but you don't have to settle there. So there's a lot of questions to ask yourself in those moments, instead of just saying going balls to the wall and being like, shoot, I'm good.